The House That Watched. In 1986, a young couple, Sarah and Mark, moved into a modest two-story home on the outskirts of a quiet town in New England. The house was old but charming, with creaky wooden floors and a garden overrun with ivy. It was perfect for starting their new life together. The first few weeks were uneventful. They unpacked, settled in, and began to make the house their own. But then, strange things started happening. It began with the lights. They would flicker inexplicably, even when no storms were nearby. Then came the sounds, soft footsteps in the hallway at night, whispers just beyond hearing, and the unmistakable feeling of being watched. One evening, Sarah was alone in the living room when she heard a loud bang from upstairs. She rushed up to find nothing amiss, but the air felt thick, oppressive. That night, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was in the house with her. Over the next few days, the occurrences escalated. Doors that were securely closed would be found ajar. Items would be moved from their usual places. And always that feeling of being observed, as if eyes were following her every move. Desperate for answers, Sarah researched the history of the house. She discovered that the previous owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Holloway, had passed away in the home several years prior. Neighbors spoke of her as a reclusive woman who rarely left the house and had no known relatives. One evening, Sarah decided to visit the local library to delve deeper into the house's history. She found an old newspaper article detailing Mrs. Holloway's death. The article mentioned that she had been found in her bed, eyes wide open, an expression of sheer terror frozen on her face. No cause of death was ever determined. Returning home, Sarah felt a chill settle over her. That night, as she lay in bed, she heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching her room. The door creaked open, but when she looked, no one was there. Terrified, Sarah confided in Mark. Together, they reached out to a local paranormal investigator who agreed to visit the house. The investigator conducted a thorough examination, using various tools to detect any unusual activity. The results were startling. The house was teeming with unexplained energy, far beyond what could be attributed to natural causes. The investigator suggested they perform a cleansing ritual to rid the house of its unwanted presence. Reluctantly, Sarah and Mark agreed. On the night of the ritual, the atmosphere in the house was thick with tension. As the investigator chanted, the temperature in the room dropped dramatically. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from upstairs. The group rushed to the source, only to find a mirror had fallen from the wall, shattering on the floor. The investigator paused, his face pale. He explained that the mirror was a conduit, a gateway for the entity to manifest. He advised them to remove all mirrors from the house and to never leave reflective surfaces uncovered. Following the investigator's advice, Sarah and Mark removed all mirrors and reflective surfaces from the house. The disturbances ceased, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. Years later, Sarah and Mark moved out of the house, seeking a fresh start. The house remained, standing silent and watchful, its secrets buried within its walls. To this day, the house stands at the end of the street, its windows dark and uninviting. Neighbors speak in hushed tones about the couple who once lived there and the strange happenings that drove them away. Some say the house watches those who pass by, its empty windows following their every move. And occasionally, when the wind is just right, the faintest sound of footsteps can be heard from within. It was supposed to be just another night. The kind where you go to sleep, the world fades away, and you wake up in the morning, your mind refreshed and your body rested. But I should have known that something was wrong the moment I laid down. Something in the air felt heavy, thick with an oppressive weight that I couldn't shake off. I tried to brush it off as just the stress of my job catching up with me. But that night, everything changed. I woke up, but not in the way you usually do. I didn't open my eyes and stretch, feeling the comfort of the blankets around me. No, I woke up trapped. My body felt like lead. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't even blink. It was like my mind was wide awake, but my body had been left behind, paralyzed in some cruel, twisted sleep. My heart began to race. Panic set in. I tried to move my fingers, my toes, anything, but nothing. Just the crushing weight of immobility pressing down on me, suffocating me. My breath quickened, shallow gasps escaping my mouth as I struggled, my body betraying me. My vision swam with the darkness of the room, and I could feel the stifling silence, thick and oppressive. That's when I saw him. At first, I thought it was a trick of my mind, the darkness playing games with my eyes. But no. There, in the far corner of the room, he sat. A man. A figure so out of place in my bedroom that it took me a moment to comprehend what I was seeing. He was sitting in the old wooden chair by the window, his legs crossed in an unnatural, almost contorted way. His clothes were old-fashioned, like something from a different time. A dark suit, torn in places, frayed at the cuffs. But it wasn't his clothes that held my attention. It was his face. I tried to look away. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. My eyes were locked on him, held captive by some invisible force. His face was wrong, twisted, his smile. It was unnatural, grotesque. It stretched too wide, far too wide, like someone had pulled the edges of his lips until they couldn't stretch any further. His skin was tight, stretched over his bones like a mask, and his eyes, God, his eyes. They were wide open, unblinking, black as coal, and staring directly at me with an intensity that made my heart stop. He tilted his head to the side, slowly, as if studying me. The motion was jerky, unnatural, like a broken puppet. I could hear the subtle creak of the chair beneath him, the only sound in the room, and it felt like the air itself had thickened, become oppressive, like I was drowning in it. He was judging me. The thought crashed into my mind with a jolt, and I felt my body stiffen further, paralyzed not just physically, but mentally, as if I was suddenly trapped in a moment that I couldn't escape from. His gaze bored into me, cold, malicious. He wasn't just looking at me. He was inside me, peeling away the layers of my thoughts, my very soul. Then he smiled again. That smile, too wide, too wrong. I wanted to scream. I wanted to beg. But my mouth wouldn't move, my throat frozen. The air around me seemed to thicken with the weight of his presence. And then he laughed. It wasn't just a laugh. It was something else. It started as a low chuckle, like a distant echo from somewhere deep within the earth. It reverberated through my bones, rattling my insides. But it wasn't just a sound. It was a sensation, a presence. The laugh crawled inside my head, filling every corner of my mind with its vile, mocking tone. It was so deep, so wrong, that I felt my own thoughts being drowned, overtaken by it. It wasn't a laugh I could escape from. It felt like it was coming from the inside of my skull, like he was controlling my thoughts, feeding on my fear, savoring every moment of my terror. The sound of it filled the room, so loud and so real that I felt my very being consumed by it. And then, it changed. The laugh grew louder, more intense, more alive. It filled the space around me, swelling and rising in pitch, becoming more twisted, more mocking. It wasn't just the sound, it was the feeling of it. It was cold, cutting through me like a blade, scraping against my nerves, infecting my mind with the purest form of dread. I couldn't escape it. I don't know how much time passed. Minutes? Hours? It felt like days. Each moment dragged on in a slow, suffocating crawl. The laugh echoed in my mind, vibrating through my very soul. I could feel it against my skin, cold and seeping in like the shadow of death itself. And then, just when I thought I would lose my sanity, when I thought I would scream until my voice shattered, it stopped. The laughter, the presence, the feeling of being consumed. It all vanished, as if nothing had ever been there at all. I snapped out of it, gasping for air, heart pounding so hard I thought it would break free from my chest. I could move again. My limbs, once frozen, were now trembling with the aftershocks of the terror I'd just endured. But it wasn't over. It was never over. I looked around the room, frantic, expecting him to be there, sitting in that chair, watching me with that damnable smile. But the chair was empty. The room was still. Quiet. Too quiet. I could feel my own breath, harsh and ragged, in the silence. I told myself it was over, that I had imagined it, that it was just another horrible dream. But even as I lay there, trying to convince myself of this, I could still hear it. That laugh. Faint at first, just a whisper in the back of my mind. But it was there. And every time I closed my eyes, it grew louder, as if he were waiting for me to drift back into the paralysis, to become trapped in the nightmare once again. It hasn't stopped. I thought the worst was over, that I could go back to my normal life. But I was wrong. Every night, when I try to sleep, the laughter is waiting for me. Sometimes I hear it in the quiet of the house, as though it's lurking just beyond the corner of the room. Other times, I hear it when I'm alone, the sound curling around my thoughts like a vine. The worst part? It's in my head. It's always in my head. I hear it more and more now. The laughter, the mocking, hollow laugh that tells me he's still here, that he's waiting. And when I close my eyes, I can still see him. That smile, wide and wrong. That head, tilted at a sickening angle. I can feel him watching me, judging me. I know it's only a matter of time before I wake up again, before I find him sitting in that chair, waiting, laughing. And next time, I won't escape. Next time, he'll take me.